Is the Earth flat? It's a question that is hotly debated on the internet, as you might have noticed. And I'm not going to engage into the scientific debate of pro and con arguments that you can read about ad nauseam if that's the way you want to go. But instead, I want to look at when and how that theory emerged and what its effects have been in society so far. And because I believe we can draw very interesting conclusions from that kind of exploration. So, as I remember it, it was about something like 10 years ago that all of a sudden we saw a lot of videos appear on the internet, primarily on YouTube, about flat Earth, about the Earth being flat, not a spheroid as we used to think. And one common quality of all these videos that appeared at the same time is that they were of a very professional quality. To me, that already says something because that's not how things evolve organically. That's not how a movement of thought is being born and grows and spreads in an organic way. Here it looked much more like a massive dump of something that had been planned and organized in a very systematic way and with really important resources to back that operation. Now, regarding the effect that it had, very rapidly, you could see in alternative and fringe groups, both online and physical ones, discussions started. And I remember that pretty quickly it seemed to become impossible to be involved in alternative activities without having someone pop up, whatever the subject or the theme of that group was, someone pop up and say, oh, and by the way, the Earth is flat. That's the biggest secret. It's the biggest cover-up. It's the biggest silence conspiracy. The Earth really is flat. And that would usually spark debates that would have a divisive effect. And it would divert the attention and the energy from what was supposed to be the focus of that group towards that debate. And it could become really unpleasant, really unpleasant. Another effect that had was that after a while, you know that there is that expression that is used to, it's that buzzword, conspiracy theory, that has been used for quite a while to discredit alternative viewpoints and perspectives that diverge from the mainstream, officially admitted, rubber-stamped version of reality. Well, after a while, you could see that another word was added to that disqualifier, conspiracy theorist, that we were used to, and that was flat earther. Oh, yeah, another of these ones. a conspiracy theorist, a flat earther, and there was um, what's the word? A conflation, a conflation of these two nasty words, nasty expressions that was being used to discredit anyone who would present an alternative viewpoint to the mainstream narrative. So these are three very important aspects, in my view, of the whole flat Earth phenomenon. One is that it appeared suddenly and in an organized manner. Two, it created a lot of division in the alternative movement that had been growing pretty nicely up to that point. And three, it was used to discredit alternative views on a whole range of important societal matters. Another thing that is important to observe is that people who are advocates, proponents of that notion of the earth being flat, whenever they present that theory, that understanding of reality, they are in a very mental kind of vibration. And I have a friend, a very dear friend, who is very sensitive to energy, who once attended a lecture by a guy who was talking about the environment and nature. And while he was doing so, my friend George could feel his heart-centered energy and the really beautiful energy that he was emanating from his heart. And then all of a sudden, the subject of his lecture shifted, and he started talking about the earth being flat. And my friend George felt all the energy moving from the heart to the head. And it was completely mind-centered and mind-originated all the time he spoke about the earth being flat. And that's very telling for me too, because if you have an organic, a heart-based relationship with your mother planet, I don't think you could ever defend the notion that it is a flat plane. Because that is one of the many narratives, that are being used to diminish her and the perception we have of her nature. Now, I'm going to tell you what I believe, what I understand about the flat Earth theory. For me, it's a psyop. It's a psyop that has been deliberately designed by intelligence agencies with the deliberate agenda to create division in the alternative movement and to discredit it, to provide an easy way to discredit it by saying, look at these guys, look at these conspiracy types. They are so naive, they are so out there, they are so lost that they actually believe the earth is flat. Can you believe these loonies? See how it works. So, to me, flat earth theory works like what some people call very appropriately, I think, a mind virus. And that's also an expression that my friend George is using. I don't know whether he created it, but he's using it very aptly. What is a mind virus? Well, it is a thought, or rather a cluster of thoughts that you might call an egregore in traditional esoteric terminology. So it's like a mental entity that can enter your mindscape. If you open yourself to it, in this case by considering whether that notion might be valid and starting to explore it and read about it and entertain these ideas to see whether whether it's real or not. That's how it happens. You open your mind to that notion, you start to explore it in a mental way instead of letting the deeper aspects of yourself assess its validity. And that's how the virus makes itself at home in your mind, and it starts to modify the mindscape, just as in the traditional understanding of how viruses work, they modify the way your body's chemistry operates in order to suit their own needs and make themselves at home. And you will see these mind viruses reconfigure the mindscape, reconfigure the way your mind operates. I'll give you an example of that. Very often, coupled with that notion of the Earth being a flat plane, is the idea that it is under a dome that they call a firmament, which is like a glass dome. And I remember one of these debates that became heated as usual because a guy popped up, as often happened, in a forum and started to talk about flat Earth. And then another member of the forum, who was a physician, started to come with scientific counter arguments. And at some point he said, listen, if there was such a dome like you describe above the Earth, it would collapse under its own weight through the dynamics of gravity, through the force of gravity. And the flat earther responded to that, gravity doesn't exist. I kid you not. He said, gravity doesn't exist. And someone else replied, well, okay, well, then go towards the nearest cliff and just jump off the cliff. That should settle the issue if gravity doesn't exist. And that is an example I'm giving you here of your entire understanding of reality is being reconfigured to accommodate the core understanding that is that mind virus. In this case, the Earth is flat. Everything has to be reorganized in order to fit that notion. That's how mind viruses work. Now, what I'm also going to tell you is that, okay, I'm going to give credit to my friend George here. His complete name is George Cavasilis, and he's an amazing teacher. George had a lot of woo-woo experiences since early childhood, and part of that is that he's been several times in space in starships. That's one of my main interests, as you might have noticed. And he's seen the Earth from space, and again, he's not the only one here. He's seen the Earth from space. He's not part of any institution. He doesn't work for any agency. He's a 100% private dude with a great sense of integrity. And he's very balanced. He's very balanced, and he's very down to earth. He's not just a very spiritual guy who hosts a podcast called Super Woo Radio. He's also very down to earth. And when he says that he's been on a starship and that he's seen Earth from space, I totally believe him because I know him and I know his heart and I know his integrity and I can see how balanced he is. And he didn't see a flat plane. No, no. He saw a round celestial body. Now, the Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is flattened at both poles, and the surface of the Earth is not perfectly what's the word for that? Smooth. It's not perfectly smooth. The Earth looks like a golf ball, actually, with its surface is covered in depressions. So when you are in one of these depressions, you might believe that it's flat, but it really isn't. Look for remote viewers. Try to find if there is any remote viewers in the entire history of remote viewing who once said that he had seen the Earth as a flat plane. To my knowledge, there is none. There is none. So to me, the core of the matter is that if you connect with the planet from the depth of your being, from your heart, you're not going to feel a flat plane. I can guarantee that. I guarantee it. Now, the most important aspect of this for me is that behind the more shallow agendas of dividing the fringe community and providing an easy way to discredit it, at a deeper level, as I already mentioned, this is a way to diminish our perception of Mother Earth. And there have been many ways in which ideological narratives have worked to operate that diminishment, to diminish not only Mother Earth, but also her humanity, her human people. And again, here I'm going to quote the list, the list, if you wish, of these narratives that George has mapped out and that I have found very, very helpful and very eye-opening. So there is the version of the God of religions, that Earth is a valley of tears. It's a place of despair. It's a place of suffering. It's a place of sin. And we must aspire to reach a much better place after our death, a place called heaven, where we will find happiness, which we certainly cannot find here because it's the valley of tears. Then you have the version of the entity that is the god of what people call artificial intelligence, and that is more aptly described as technological intelligence or techno-consciousness. That version is that the Earth is a simulation. It's a hologram. It's not real. It's a computer-generated simulation in which our minds are being projected. like in the Matrix. Then you have the version of the Eastern mind-bending philosophies that it is an illusion. It's very close to the TI version. It's an illusion. It's Maya, as they say in Hinduism. Um, it's um, it's a trick of our consciousness, basically, that we should also work to transcend. And you have the New Age version. You have the New Age version that we are here in like the bowels of the universe, in a disgustingly dense reality that we must aspire to ascend from by elevating our frequency and um, elevating our vibration. Even though there is a lot in New Age that claims to love and respect Mother Earth. And no, not really. Theoretically, yes, theoretically, and in reality to a certain extent, but not fully. And then you have that last, that new kid on the block, the most recent one, even though it's not that recent, because it was the common understanding in the Middle Ages that has just been recycled. It's that, yeah, it's flat. It's a flat plane with a glass dome over it. Now, there is never an explanation about where that glass dome came from and where we came from and how we arrived on that flat place. Who put that glass dome there? It's never explained. I've heard assertions like, yes, that a globe floating in space, what a fable for children. Okay, so how about your glass dome? How is that not a fable for children? Anyways, I don't really have many examples of flat planes in nature because nature is not linear. Nature moves in curves, you know? Observe anything in nature. Nature doesn't move in straight lines. Nature is not flat. Nature has depth. You see, depth. Nature is not shallow. Nature is not shallow. It is deep. It has depth. So that was my not my little rant, but my considerations about flat Earth. I'm going to stop here, and I'll see you later for another video. Take care.